For around 6 months, fast editing in Fortnite has been nerfed. With the new movement making your edits look like they could be replicated by a sloth, and the pickaxe animation being broken, fast editing is at an all-time low. So whether you're new to learning fast editing, or a veteran like me, you are probably looking for new ways to adapt to the new playstyle. I linked my video on how to somewhat fix the pickaxe animation in the description, hopefully, as long as I remember to. I recommend watching that after this video if you don't already know the pickaxe trick. I decided to make this video on editing in Fortnite with a fast sensitivity because this is a great way to adapt to the new movement. Let me explain. Look at my edits when I use my Logitech G Pro mouse with the DPI set to 1000 and my sensitivity 9.9 by 9.9. The edits are controlled and consistent, but especially with the new movement, they're not very impressive and honestly quite boring. Smooth editing is a relic of the past, and most viewers seem to be tired of slow playstyles. But now, if I show a clip using my Model O on 1600 DPI without changing my sensitivity, the difference is huge. It's a small change, but how I effortlessly flick through each edit distracts from the Chapter 5 movement. Something I need to mention before I share my knowledge on fast sensitivities is that this isn't just a fix for the new movement. This video still would have been completely valid before the change. Watch this clip from me playing with a slow sensitivity versus a fast sensitivity. These are from 2023. The same idea stands. A faster sensitivity will always make your edits look much more impressive. So if and hopefully when the new movement is reverted, having learned a faster sense will still benefit your playstyle. Okay, but you might be asking yourself, why should I learn a faster sensitivity if I won't be able to stay in control of my edits? And you would be correct. Although much more impressive, a fast sensitivity is difficult to control. If you have consistency issues, they will be much worse if you start playing on a high sensitivity. But I strongly believe that if you are brave enough to try it, your edits will be far greater in the long run. And if you follow my next steps, the issues you have with playing on a fast sensitivity will be minimized. There is a decent chance you haven't thought about increasing your sensitivity because it seems too hard, or you're afraid to miss more shots during fights. I agree these are valid points and I will touch on them later, but I promise you, it seems much more difficult in your mind. The first thing I would do is go into a creative map and experiment with your DPI and sensitivity. I've heard increasing your DPI is better than in-game sensitivity because it lowers latency with your mouse, but I would increase whichever one you are more comfortable with. Now, take about an hour to slowly increase your sensitivity. Keep bumping it up just a little bit, or even try out some extremely high sensitivities to test the waters of how high it can get. But at the end of the session, the goal is to find a faster sensitivity that you are still able to control. There is always a sweet spot, and you probably have been playing on a sensitivity that was too conservative and was holding you back. Although aiming is a different discussion, fast editing feels 1,000 times better when you find a sensitivity on the higher side. For one thing, your arm doesn't have to fly all around your mousepad. Running out of space and knocking into your water bottle or PS5 controller simply doesn't happen anymore because you will have much smaller, more controlled movements with your hand. This might be hard to get used to, but is beneficial for arm health. If your arm is wildly moving about like mongrel, you're bound to run into some arm issues. When I edit on a faster sensitivity, the most movement comes from my wrist. A faster sensitivity looks so nice because the edits look almost inhuman as your crosshair flicks from one edit to the next. It's mesmerizing. It creates a flow that a slow sensitivity could never replicate. So let's talk about how to adapt your mechanics to a fast sensitivity. I would start by practicing on the higher sensitivity and trying to replicate your old edits. This will help you adapt and gain balance. Next, you need to take advantage of the possibilities of fast sensitivity. Your directional movement needs to work with your mouse movements. As you practice, think about how your character is moving and try to sync it with your crosshair placement to create flow. For instance, when you finish a triple or quad edit, you now can create more of a circular arc motion as opposed to simply flicking to your targeted edit tile. Fast sensitivities allow you to do things like this because your edits don't feel rushed anymore. On a slow sensitivity, your only goal can be to move your crosshair from point A to point B because there isn't time for flashiness. On a fast sensitivity, you have much more time to add little details into your edits and create a more visually appealing edit flow. The possibilities become infinite. Of course, in changing something major in your playstyle, problems will arise. What about aiming? Although faster sensitivities are amazing for fast editing, fighting players will inevitably be more difficult. So one thing you need to ask yourself is, Am I more passionate about editing fast or fighting opponents? Now, I'm no aim guru. My aim is comically bad right now because I've been strictly fast editing for the past 6 months or so. But at one point, I did have very good control over my aim, so I will give you some advice from my prior knowledge. Figure out what your priorities are. A slower sensitivity is objectively better for fighting. A faster sensitivity is objectively better for fast edits. Either way, choosing one or the other doesn't make the other one impossible. A lot of competitive players have very slow senses and are still able to edit fairly fast, but they'll never compare to a fast editor with a high sensitivity. A fast editor on a high sense can still aim as long as I didn't set it too high, but won't be one pumping everyone, that's for sure. It can get complicated, but as I said earlier, I have found that the best way to go is to find the highest sensitivity that you can without losing control, and that can apply to your aim as well. Maybe do some 1v1s or go into a map where you can fight a lot of opponents, and keep turning up your sense until you start missing your opponents, and then turn it back down a little. Your edits might be a bit less impressive with this strategy, but if you want to keep your combat skills, this is the way to go. At the end of the day, if you practice playing on a high sensitivity, you will inevitably adapt through human nature. This will benefit you in the long run. But if you prefer to play with the smooth playstyle, it is my goal to make a second part of this video and explain the best strategies when editing on a slow sensitivity. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.